talked about what they wanted to get for the house, it was a pretty high number compared to what the other houses were selling for in the neighborhood. When I went to take a look at the house, come to find out they had made a large investment in a brand new kitchen. This was their first house, and they really hadn't thought about how long they would want to live there. And come to find out, they wanted to put their kids in a different school district. We looked at the house, and there were some nice things about it. Of course, the kitchen stood out, but there were some things that they couldn't change. Number one, the location. They were not in the ideal school district. Number two, the house did not have a basement. And in order to get the price that they wanted in their neighborhood, houses had to have a basement. We went to put the house on the market, and sure enough, everyone loves the kitchen, but they could not get what they wanted for the house. They had put $60,000 over improving a kitchen for a house that was just not going to bring what they wanted. So this is a good example of the fact that you do not always get out of the investment what you want when you sell the house, when you make some of those major upgrades. So today we're going to talk mostly about what I would call low cost, high return updates. These are things that anyone can do to their house to improve that profit when they sell. If you're new here, I'm Teresa. I'm a local realtor here in Georgia. If you hear anything that's valuable to you, please hit that like button. And if you have any questions that I can answer, please leave them there in the comments. I always recommend that you check out the comments because some of my viewers leave some really valuable information there as well. Today, I'm going to focus on the updates that get you the most money for your investment. Buyers really do not want to have to move into a house and do anything other than make it their own. They want to decorate, maybe add some more furniture, things like that. They don't want to deal with maintenance items or things that are broken that they have to fix. As a seller, we really want to give them a good base, a good starting point. So let's start by looking at your house like a buyer would. In fact, go outside, go across the street and take a good look. What do you see? How does the landscape look? Is the paint looking fresh? Is there debris on your roof? Do you need to pick up items out of the yard? Would this house be of interest to you if you were a buyer? And when you go back in, go in that front door and look at things differently. How's the paint? Do the light fixtures look updated? Was the door hardware loose when you walked in the front door? Does it look over personalized? Do you see dust on the baseboards or on the window treatments? Is there anything obvious that you would change? And before you get overwhelmed thinking you have to change everything, hold up. I've got some great solutions for you. And you're probably going to get tired of hearing me say this if you watch many of my videos, but the best investment you can make is paint. There's just nothing else that makes as much difference at the way the house looks and feels as fresh paint. Now, first off, don't go picking the latest trendy color of the year. That's not what we're going for here. You want neutral, bright colors that are going to make everything fresh and pop. We're really mostly interested in how is the house going to look in the photos. You want those warm, neutral colors that will really enhance the features of the home. Gray is gone. Gray is gone. Warm whites are in. And just remember, you're not picking colors for you. You're not picking colors to go with your furniture. You want to neutralize everything so that it appeals to the broadest amount of buyers. And if you're unsure what those colors are, reach out to me. I'll also have them all listed in my free home sellers guide. I have a whole palette that you can choose from that I recommend to my sellers all the time. And when you're looking around, do not forget about the trim work. Buyers really want that trim to be really fresh. So the next big thing that you can really get big bang for your buck is to clean. And cleaning is definitely a DIY project if you want to take it on. I've been in so many houses over the years, and I just can't tell you the effect it has when you walk into a house that has not been cleaned. Walking into a house that has not been cleaned can really turn off some excited buyers. It's a feeling that many just can't get past. It gives a feeling that the house has just not been taken care of. And when you do a deep clean and everything is fresh, it has the completely opposite effect. That house will resonate with buyers and they'll remember that. And let's not forget, cleaning has always been important, but we're in a post-COVID world now and buyers really think differently about it. It's a great segue to my next recommendation, which is to replace the grout and caulk around showers and tubs. Everybody gets mold in these areas. It's almost unavoidable, but nobody wants to see it. It's cheap, it's easy, and it makes such a big difference. It's a great DIY project. Anybody can do it. So let's talk about curb appeal. To me, this is so important and so often is overlooked. Do the bushes and trees need trimming? How does the lawn look? Have you edged around the walkways and the sidewalks? It's really important that you trim those bushes and trees away from the windows. And while you're out there, make sure that you remove any dead items. Pressure washing the exterior of the home really goes a long way too. And when you do so, make sure that you get the sidewalks and the driveway. And if you haven't done it in a while, make sure you clean those windows. There is nothing that makes the impression like a clean window. And I know this may sound obvious, but you need to fix anything that's broken, starting with the doorbell. Can you imagine how a buyer feels when they walk up to your front door and the doorbell is broken? Immediately, their thought goes to, if this doorbell is broken, what else in this house is broken? And I'm definitely going to give you bonus points if you replace it with a video doorbell. So many of us today enter and exit our homes through the garage, and we haven't even opened our front door in weeks. This is the first impression that a buyer is going to have of your house. So when you open it, does it stick? Does it squeak? Is the door hardware in good condition? Does it look nice? Maybe it needs painting or even a pane of glass replaced. Whatever it is, address that front door. And all of these, again, are simple DIY projects, or any handyman can do it for you. And it will not cost you near what you think it will. And while you're on that front porch, make sure you take a look at what's surrounding. Do you see any wood rot maybe around the door? Does your porch light need updating? Maybe you just need a new welcome mat. And always clean and blow anything off. I've actually walked up to front porches where there's actually newspapers on the front door and a spider web. So we've made it into the kitchen. A lot of times I have sellers ask me if they should just replace the countertops. And that's not an immediate yes or no. It really depends on what the rest of the kitchen looks like. If you've got a kitchen full of outdated, old looking cabinets, fresh countertops on it is only going to emphasize the fact that the cabinets are bad. But if you've got new appliances and maybe you can also paint the walls and paint the cabinets along with those countertops, then it may be a good idea. You're probably going to be looking at an investment somewhere between $7,000 to $10,000. So if you're comfortable with that and you could get what looks like a freshened up kitchen, then that would be a great idea. Back to my sellers at the beginning of the video. If they had contacted me before they made that big investment in that brand new kitchen, this is what I would have recommended to do. When I looked at the other houses that had sold in the neighborhood and had sold even near the price they wanted, this is all they had done. They had painted the cabinetry because it was a good quality cabinetry, updated countertops, put some new hardware, replaced appliances to stainless steel. And it made all the difference in the world. And the investment that they made really showed up at the closing table. We just have to remember that we can't put lipstick on a pig and expect to fake our buyers out. They're watching HGTV, and that's what their expectation is. Another question I get asked all the time is about refinishing hardwood floors. Let me just tell you first up, if you have real hardwood floors, that's already points in your favor. And if you've got hardwood floors that are being covered up by carpeting right now, the number one thing you need to do is rip that carpeting up. So first up, I'll just tell you, hardwood floors, even if they do have scratches and scuffs, always look great in the photographs. And that's really what we're going for, because the first showing of every house happens online in those photographs. And buyers are probably going to refinish those floors when the house is empty before they move in. So you, as a seller, weigh the time, the trouble, and the cost of refinishing those floors. My vote is normally a no. They would have to really be in some really bad conditioning, maybe even needing some replacement of boards, before I'm going to recommend that you spend that money and the time to refinish those floors. Now, if you're planning to be in your house for even a couple of more years and you want to refinish those floors just for you, sure, go ahead. I mean, you will get probably most of that investment back, but if it's for your enjoyment, then go ahead and make that investment. There are definitely some high cost, high return renovation items that you could consider, and they are attractive to buyers, but they are expensive. Everybody loves a new kitchen, a new bathroom, maybe an added outdoor living area, or even a finished basement. But these are all 20, 25, 30, even $40,000 investments, just depending on how large a space you have and to the degree that you upgrade it. But all of these items are at the top of buyer wish lists, but they're just not going to get you all the money back when you invest it. For me to recommend a seller to make that type of investment, I would want to see them be in that home for another 3 to 5 years before it really makes sense. Not only are they expensive, but you have to consider that there are a lot of personal decisions made in those renovations, colors, material, layout, a lot of things that may not resonate with the buyer when you put that house on the market. And according to Remodeling Magazine, the national average return on investment for updating a kitchen or renovating a bathroom is between 51 and 72%. And this is definitely a great time to ask that professional for some advice. If you already have a realtor, definitely ask them for help. If you're in search of a realtor and you're in my area, I would love to help. All of my contact information is in the description of the video. And if you're not in my area and you need some help finding an agent, there's a link there for that as well. I'd love to help you. Part of the world's largest network of real estate professionals, and I would love to help connect you. And don't forget about my Ultimate Seller's Guide that's free to you, and you can download it there at the link in the description of the video. Another question I get often is about replacing the roof. If your roof is in good condition and it looks good, then I'm going to tell you no. I have walked up to some houses, though, where the roof looks really, really bad. And when you walk in, you can actually see where they've repaired some leak damage. So if your roof is leaking and it looks like it should be leaking, it's a definite yes. Here in Georgia, we are actually seeing some home insurance companies push back on insuring roofs that are older than 12 years old. And this can be a significant issue for buyers. I often see roofs that are 15 years or older that are in great condition with no leaks or anything. And if it comes down to being an issue for a buyer, this is something that you can negotiate into the sale, maybe give a seller credit at closing, because you don't want buyers to have an issue getting the home insured, because that could be a widespread issue that you're going to have to deal with no matter what if you want the house sold. No matter the age of the roof, I always recommend that you make sure it's clean of any debris and clean those gutters. Again, it's just something that tells a buyer that you're taking good care of the house. I have virtually the same answer when I'm asked about upgrading or replacing HVAC systems. If you choose to do it, just know that you're probably not going to get all of your investment back when you sell. However, it will make your house sell faster. First-time buyers are often leery of older HVAC systems just because they've never owned a home before and they're just getting used to the expenses of maintaining the house. So they're really intimidated by the replacement cost of that system. I don't know any buyer that doesn't love to see that the system is newer. It's just something you don't have to worry about while you're decorating and making that house your own. Something else to consider. As long as the system is working properly, you can always get a home warranty on it that would protect you if something goes wrong. You can offer that as a buyer concession to make it more attractive. I do recommend, though, that you have the system completely serviced before putting the house on the market. That does tell the buyer again that you are properly maintaining the home. And everybody loves to see that fresh service sticker on the side of the furnace. So let's talk about solar panels. I'm just going to give you my quick answer is definitely no. This is my least favorite update of all. So I'll tell you a little story about my 75-year-old dad in West Texas. He was recently sold solar panels by someone at his church on a long-term finance agreement. So it's my understanding, talking to my real estate colleagues in that area, that when we go to sell his house, that's probably going to bring about $200,000. We're probably going to see about a $50,000 hit when we sell. A potential buyer is going to have to either pay off the balance of the finance agreement, or they will have to qualify for a finance agreement in addition to their mortgage. This just diminished his buyer pool by probably 50%. $50,000 is a big hit for a house that's going to sell for $200,000. And it's my understanding that these finance companies are very hard to deal with. So my answer is no. And if you disagree with me, leave it there in the comments. I would love to hear someone tell me a good story about how they actually got a good return on the investment for their solar panels. The only way I can see it is if you plan to stay in that house until Jesus comes. If not, my answer is no to solar panels. So if you focus on the list of things that I've given you that are low cost, high return, you will have made a lot of ground on getting your house ready to sell. You really can't go wrong with doing any of these things. But if you're considering anything from that high cost category, please consult your realtor. And if I can answer any questions on that, reach out to me directly. I'd love to talk through that with you. I so I recently had a client that reached out to me to talk about selling their home, and she had already spoken to a realtor who had recommended $40,000 of updates. This didn't really make sense to me. When I looked at everything, I was recommending that we put the house on the market for about 230,000. It was a small 3-bedroom, 2-bath home. Yes, it was older. It needed some updates, but it was in that situation where either you did everything or you did nothing. And when we dove into the situation a little deeper, we found out that that realtor was actually recommending those updates because she was married to a contractor that she was recommending to do those updates. So be careful out there. Things are not always as they seem. I came in, we recommended a few DIY projects to the house. We put it on the market at 230. It sold for 230 the same weekend. And she didn't have to do any of those updates. Literally saved her $40,000. Y'all, I cover all of these items and so much more in my free seller's guide. The link is there to download it and gives you a really great roadmap of getting the house ready. My direct phone number is also there in the description. Reach out. You can call me or text me anytime. If I can help you in the Georgia area, I'd love to. If you are looking for an agent in another area and you need some help vetting that agent, again, I am part of the largest network of real estate professionals, and I would love to connect you. There's a link there for a form to submit that as well. Y'all, thanks so much for watching. If I can do anything for you, let me know. I'll see you on the next one.